right now we got coming on stage Savvy Creative, hosted by Christina Castaneda with guest Melanie Camp of the Beautiful Hollywood podcast. You got it.
Episode tonight because this is our 50th episode.
I was really worried I was going to miss your hand then because I'm super uncoordinated.
That's okay. So today my guest, we do an interview style show for writers, and today my guest is an Australian-born but Los Angeles-based journalist and the host of the Beautiful Hollywood podcast that explores stories that are behind the dream chasers who are making it happen. Welcome, Melanie Camp. Now, since we're live, we want to let you decide what you want to hear about Melanie. So she can talk about leaving the outback of Australia, like literally where the fires are right now.
Oh, like working in a radio station in outback Australia, so that's one option.
She's obsessed with unicorns.
I'm even writing a story about unicorns. It's taking a while.
And she was wanted by the FBI. There's our winner.
Yeah, I got held up by 10 federal agents. All right, what do you want to hear? Outback Australia? Unicorns?
Or FBI?
Okay. Well, okay, it was 6 a.m. on a Monday morning. No, for real, it was 6 a.m. on a Monday morning and I'm in bed asleep, as you would be, maybe, I was. And I hear like that. And I had a friend staying from England. She's actually an actress and she's on TV shows, including Outlander. She's kind of half famous. Anyway, and I'm thinking she's got some friends visiting and it's continuing like, yeah.
That's what they did.
So I freaking get out of bed. I was PMSing. I got out of bed. I walked to the door and I start hearing like, open the door! Which does not make you want to open the door. So I'm going, all right, no. And then I hear like, it continues. And then I don't know what they did, but I opened the freaking door. And there's a bunch of federal agents. And all I remember is I went like this. And they were going, Wiz! And they say the name of this broke-ass motherfucker that I used to be married to. And I go... And I go, oh, I think he's in Vegas, but maybe he's in New York because he picked up a 21-year-old stripper who was studying in New York, I think. Maybe that's where he is. And
that's where you pick up strippers.
Yeah, for a second, they all go, oh. And then they go, where's Melanie Camp? And I was like, oh my God. Would you like a cup of tea? No, apparently I did. I said, would you guys like a cup of tea? My friend by then was out of bed. So yeah, so they were looking for this person I used to be married to.
We won't say his name, it's okay.
So, well, I mean, I guess, can we say his name? Is that like, well, it's not really defamation, it was real, it truly happened. But motherfucker, his name is Darcy. Like, and everyone would go, oh, Mr. Darcy. Yeah, fucking Mr. Darcy. Mr. fucking Darcy. Yeah, his name was Darcy. He's now in upstate New York, in prison, for 10 years. So that was my welcome to Los Angeles. But here's a couple of things. The cops were like, they're like, oh, cool. It was so badass. You didn't piss your pants. And I was like, what? Apparently people like pee or worse when they have that many guns in their face. But honestly, I don't remember the guns.
In America, you don't remember the guns.
I don't remember the guns. They were like, sorry, we had our guns in your face. And I was like, what guns? And then they looked really worried. I wonder if I can sue for that.
Maybe you can.
I'm so traumatized. But yeah, fuck. So let's be careful who you marry. I actually met that guy in Vegas. I was on holidays and I met him. Got married in Vegas. Yeah, but we met and married after 9 months, so yeah.
So from there, actually, you became a journalist from after the whole thing, the FBI. And not because she was raided by the FBI.
Yeah. No, I was actually a journalist at that time, which is kind of like, you're like, oh, God, I really hope no one calls the paper and says, there was a raid at this house. Oh, really? What house? Oh, gee.
The person who hosts your local news
My house. I had a paper that was due that morning. So at that time, I was working for the local newspaper in Venice Beach. It's like, how does a freaking Australian end up like that?
Because everyone ends up in Venice Beach.
In Venice. I suppose there's a lot of Australians in Venice. So yeah, so I was working as a local newspaper editor in Venice at the beach. They're so drunk over there. And yeah, I got that job on Craigslist, which is really, Craigslist is good for all sorts of things. Not husbands.
So from there, you decided that being a journalist was where you discovered that you were a writer. So some people, we feel like we're already are artists, or we just kind of know and have the tendencies. How did this experience as a journalist tell you that you were meant to be a writer?
Yeah, actually, that's interesting because I always liked to write, and I don't know how many people out here are writers or actors, or we're
in
here
LA
being creative people. And at what point do you say I'm an actor or I'm a writer or I am what I am when you feel like, okay, I'm not making enough money doing it, it's the imposter syndrome thing. And so I started writing for the paper, and I was so much in that imposter syndrome. At the time, I was dating a reporter who was actually a writer and a reporter, and his friends would say, oh, are you a writer? That's so cool. And I'd say, no. And they'd go, what do you do? And I'd say, oh, I write for the local newspaper. And they'd go, but you're a writer? And I'd go, no, I just write for the local newspaper. It was just it's like, I think that's the struggle that we have when you finally have to go, oh, for God's sakes, I'm a writer. And then I think once you have that moment in your life when you realise that, man, I'm an actor. Yeah, I'm a singer. Yeah, I'm a writer. Then you realise that you always were. And so you understand why people say, you are. That's what you are. So say it and be proud about it. But I totally understand that you need those moments in your life when you finally recognize it for yourself.
Did it change the way that you pursue writing and pursue the things that you love when you started saying that?
Yeah, that's when I thought, I'm going to write about freaking unicorns. Now that I'm a writer, I'm writing a book about unicorns. It's taking a freaking long time to write.
Well, unicorns are tricky.
Would you guys read a book about unicorns, do you think? They were like, see? I thought I was really excited, like, yes, I'm going to write a novel about unicorns. And everyone's like, do they kill anyone? And I'm like, no, they're unicorns. And
do they take over the world?
No, unicorns. Yeah, no one cares about unicorns. They're so 2010.
Well, to be fair, your novel is a YA novel, correct?
Yeah.
Young adult novel.
I don't even like YA, but apparently that's what it is. Like, that's the whole next thing that comes when you go, I'm a writer, I'm going to write something. And then they go, you've got to fit in with a genre. And it's like, what genre?
And we hate that. We hate being put into a box like that. So
yeah.
How do you deal with being out of the box?
Well, I think I'm trapped in a box. You know when Gwen Stefani sings that song? I know, it's like, I'm trapped in a box. I'm in a box. Sorry. I think that I think the thing is, it sucks because if you're writing for a genre and you start thinking about your audience, all of a sudden you're censoring yourself. And then the critic steps in, and then the critic goes, oh, they suck. And then you're like, I'm going to not do that job anymore. So yeah, it's like, I think I don't like this genre I think at some point you just have to write first and then push it in a box.
So let's talk about let's get out of the box and talk about your journalism. So nowadays we think because of Facebook, everybody thinks that they're a reporter. How do you have real journalism, and what do you feel is the difference?
I think because for me, I could have easily gone down the path doing local news of just being speculative and running in and going, oh my gosh, everybody, this is going on. But you really have to, there's the old rules of news. You have to have, I would give you 2 sources, but actually you need to have 3 sources before you actually publish a story. So if you're just going up and going, oh my gosh, I'm a journalist and here we are at Down and Out Bar and where's that drunk guy gone? Oh, he's gone, so I think he's dead. Boom, boom, boom. And it's like, no, you actually have to go, all right, where am I? Where's the drunk guy? Where is the drunk guy? Where did he go? And then
I hope he's not dead.
And you need to get your sources and then you go, okay, so here's the story. Where is he? Here's this. I think he went back to San Bernardino. Jesse. But you have to sort of clarify, and I think with this instant media now, it's just too easy to put things up, and then later on you find out, oh, it wasn't. The amount of times people would say, oh my gosh, a guy jumped off the Venice Pier, he tried to kill himself, and then it's like, no, some homeless person just threw their jacket off because it smelt bad, you know, and it's like, you have to ask a few sources, and, you know, and so I became friends with some cops.
So how did you go so all this journalism knowledge, how did you go from that to making music videos and the ice cream song?
Oh no, the music videos came first. Music videos were first. So there was a time in my life when I went, if I could, you know, people say, if you had all the money in the world, what would you do? And then I thought, fuck that, if you had all the money, what would I do? Like, what do I really want to do? And I thought, well, I want to be a pop star. But there is a little bit of a limitation there. I cannot sing. I actually really can't sing. So that was a problem. But then I went, fuck that, I'm going to be a pop star. But I was like, I'm just going to make some weird music and have fun with it and just challenge myself. If I think I can't do it, I'm going to go do it. Luckily, there's auto-tune. So I created my fake band called Tiger Trip, which is actually my Instagram now, Tiger Trip. I got their name off a truck. I was on La Brea, and this truck drove past, and it was like Tiger Trip. And I went, oh, that's my band's name. It was awesome. So, and they're a band that aren't very good. So, but I made some music videos, and I made this killer music video with a friend of mine, Narrator. Shout out, Narrator. Can you feel that I said your name then? He's a really cool artist, does really cool graffiti. Actually, he was old school, got arrested and had a felony for when you actually got arrested for doing graffiti in Los Angeles, but now it's a grey area. But he was the art director and we did this cool, crazy, rad video and it was all one shot and just, you know, silly art. And it's called The Ice Cream Song.
Which you guys can hear later, and you can follow her for more.
But that was that whole thing of like, just freaking do it. Like, I think we live once, and there's all limits. And I don't know. I think we can get into our heads sometimes and block ourselves, and then you do it. And I've got to say, I did the video. I thought I was going to be a star, and nothing happened. And then it made me realize, oh well, just keep doing stuff because no one's going to, you know, I don't know. We get afraid people are going to hate it. Or we get afraid, or we get hope it's going to be amazing, and then often it just kind of lands in the middle and disappears, and so you just keep going and creating, I think. Keep creating.
Yes, that's a line for our show. So keep creating. What is next for you as you are at this point in your career?
Oh, where's he? I actually applied for 2 jobs in Alaska, doing news in Alaska, but then I've been advised against taking the jobs. By friends,
leaving LA from
but
Alaska.
Now I'm like, I could go snorkeling. That changes it. I'm going to bring it. A friend of mine was like, you don't want to go to Alaska. I wanted to go work for NBC in Alaska, but apparently they were like, you know, there's other places you could go that are warmer and have more sunshine. But I will be with you. Yeah. So, I think it's just more media. I will continue to write. I'll keep creating because it's you know, if you're an artist, it kind of, you make peace with the fact that it will always be like going, excuse me. You know, like it's always hitting you. And so you get to a point where you're just like, yeah, okay, I'll keep doing what I have to do and then I'll keep nurturing what you need to nurture.
So what is the thing that what was your did not finish that was really hard to let go? Did you ever not finish a book, a story, a video?
I think it's never not finished until you're dead. I would never drop a microphone.
Hypothetical mic drop.
It hurts my heart when people drop microphones. I started in radio, so I have a big respect. Yeah. And I remember I said to my little brother once, "Oh, am I going to make it?" And he goes, "Well, what do you mean? Of course you are. And if you don't, you won't know because you'll be dead." It's like, just keep going, keep going until, Yeah, so there's nothing I haven't finished yet. I did do a weird web series once, and I thought I wasn't going to finish it. And actually, I will credit where's credit's due to Darcy, who's now in jail. But I remember he said, "Why aren't you finishing that web series?" And I was like, "'Cause it sucks." And he was like, "Oh, just fucking finish it." And I did. And that was actually a good lesson. Is like, if you think you've got something half done and it's not worth finishing, just kind of tie a bow on it, wrap it up and put it out and then move on to the next thing.
So coming out here from the Australian outback.
Yeah.
And to pursue that career in journalism, I mean, what was one of the biggest fears that you had to get over when you came out here?
Well, I didn't have a lot of fear coming here because I'd met some dude in a house in Vegas, and I just kind of went, I've always been someone who says yes. It doesn't, everyone goes, the year of yes. My whole life has been Mel's life of yes. And I got to say, yeah, cool, it's great advice and everything, but you better be ready for some freaking sucker fucking punches to your face, we sort of glorify this idea of saying yes, but it is, go for it, say yes, but be prepared for it to hurt, but then also know you'll keep going, you'll make it through it. But for me, I was always like, I wanted to work in radio so badly, and I went to in Australia, like the country, like regional radio. And I went there and I took a job. And I remember when I got back into a city market and I was working at a big city radio station, this girl said, "Oh my gosh, your job is so amazing. How do you get your job?" And I said, I went to 3 hours north of Sydney to this town called Muswellbrook. And she just kind of glazed over and was like, "But your job now, how did you get it now?" And I went, "Well, no, you have to go," we think it's like, oh, woohoo, I am freaking Beyonce. But at some point, Beyonce was like performing, where people were going, "What? Shh, we're trying to drink." Shh, I mean, probably not. Which is so performing nightclubs, maybe not.
Real quick, as we close the show, we ask our guests all a signature question. And what's your best advice to the young creative out there struggling to make their way?
I think, interesting, okay, when people say, "My dad told me this," I always think, bitch, you had a nice dad. Meh. My dad, everyone has a parent relationships, I think. My dad, he's a wise guy for whatever else, and I respect him now, but didn't when I was younger. But he did say to me, "You can never make a wrong decision." And I think that always meant, I've often been like, I don't know, but at least in the back of my mind, I get to a point where I go, well, at the end of the day, you can't make a wrong decision, and you really can't. And so I think when you're young, you often feel paralyzed and you think you have to make a choice and stick with it and go for it. But one thing really does lead to another, and I think all roads lead to Rome. Like, if you've got your overall destiny and the thing that you want to do, then what's yours by divine right can't be taken away. And so if you go out there and just freaking throw yourself at it, and don't second guess that you've made the wrong decision. Just know that is at some way is going to lead you to where you have to be, So, yeah.
Yes, give it up for Melanie. Thank you, everyone, for our 50th episode. If you want to follow Melanie, thank you, Podcast LA, Podcast Pit LA.
Thank you so much, guys.
Hey, boy.
Oh, this is the ice cream song.
For a barbecue. We can throw some bangers on. Why not come with me on a trip down under?